What up, what up, what up? We are back for another great episode of the Sick Podcast Rams Recap. And obviously, we have to recap the NFL draft and how we came out on top. Once again, are we really surprised? In Snead, we trust. In McVay, we trust. This is going to be a great pod to go over some of the picks and what this potentially means for the future for this season. So, Sammy, hit that intro.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones.
They rush forward. Burrow to throw for it. He's hit. He's hit. He's sacked. He throws it away. He flings it away on fourth down. Aaron Donald got there, and you can build that man's statue out SoFi Stadium right now. The greatest of all time on defense. Does it in the biggest moment of Super Bowl 56.
The sickest Los Angeles Rams podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Well done. Well done, McVay, Snead. Well done. Give you your kudos of doing it again. Hitting the draft, hitting areas that we need, and building for the future. Not only did we build for the future, but flipping that 26th pick in the first round for Terrence Ferguson, a need at tight end, and a first-round pick next year, boy, this gives us so much wiggle room to do whatever we want to do next season and understand that this is a fail-safe. Like, we have a backup plan. Stay ready so you do not have to get ready. If things go south this season and we're basically back to where we were in the beginning of the season last year, where we're dealing with injuries coming out of camp, key players going down, key roles just missing and not being able to fill and step up. Listen, we have 2 first-round picks next year, and we have a 2-year window with Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams, so we can do whatever we want next season because these picks could end up being really good picks if we tend to go south and things go bad and worse, how that 2022 season was. I don't ever want to get back to that point. That was real nasty work, but listen, last season, let me know in the face of adversity, we could still come back and make that playoff run because we are the most dangerous team in the NFL. And making that clear with flipping those picks for next year that we have a fail safe, getting Terrence Ferguson. And honestly, I know McVay was hyped up getting him. He's a tight end coming out of Oregon. If you were just revisiting the recap of the players that we just acquired, the 6 players that we got this season, and boy, Ferguson packs a punch. And honestly, I'd like to move because last season we already knew in the draft that they tried to move up to go get Brock Bowers. That didn't happen. That obviously wasn't going to happen. This season, I wouldn't be surprised if we were one of those teams calling, hitting the phone at 10, trying to get there, try to get Colston Loveland, or even at 14 for Tyler Warren, but that did not shape out for us. But it's cool. It's fine. There was 3 tight ends outside of the main 2 that I honestly wanted. I was mocking them all last month leading up to the draft. It was either we're going to get Terrence Ferguson, which he was at the top of the list, or Harold Fannin Jr., or Elijah Arroyo, who ended up being in a division going to the Seattle Seahawks. But we came away with one of the most fierce guys. I mean, this guy's a smooth route runner, really, really smooth when he gets into his breaks, a lot better than a few other of these tight ends in his class, and he's a guy that could stretch the field. He packs a punch of some of the areas that we lack with Tyler Higbee into year 10, aka Baby Grunk, and honestly, I don't know if Higbee is going to be around past this season because this is a contract year, and he hasn't been very healthy in the last couple of seasons, but if he was to go down again this season, it's good to know that we have Ferguson in the tank, ready to go. And listen, I know McVay kind of joked about playing 12 personnel a little bit more, but that's good news. He honestly was pumped up and hyped about getting Terrence Ferguson, and I can't be more hyped up than he can be about a player that he just acquired and has plans for in the future. So if we end up seeing him in that 12 personnel getting sprinkled in here and there, because he could pass block, like I said, he could stretch the field, he could operate on all 3 levels, the yak yards are there. The notable thing that I seen that popped off a tape about his yards after the catch is that he has a mean, notable stiff arm on the Batman utility belt. So when he brings that out, it's going to be one of those things that you want to watch after the catch when the ball is in his hand. So I'm actually happy, that we were able to acquire an obvious need for the future at the tight end position. So Terrence Ferguson, A+, McVay, A+ Snead. Let's keep it going. Now, This one, it had really, really, really small chances of us getting Josiah Stewart, but the fact that we were able to land him in that third round, I thought he was going to be gone. And so did McVay and Snead. They were very hyped up as well about this pick. Really ecstatic. You've seen the emotion on the call. When you go back and watch how they put out that video about how they called him and how emotional he was, and honestly believing in this guy, I think Stewart is going to make an impact in year one. Now, he's going to be a rotational guy. He's going to be over there with Byron Young. He's probably going to be put in on third down with the pass rushers, but the dude could ball. The dude could definitely ball. And I was really surprised that he fell this far in drafts. And like most notably, I think he was falling in drafts because of his size, I guess, at the linebacker position. But I'm not quite sure what does that mean. And we see linebackers all shapes and sizes and make plays all over the field. Like I get some areas, but okay, cool. But this guy's a pass rusher. He is violent. The violent motor just fits the culture of what we have on the defensive line already. I mean, you look at Braden Fish, you look at Jared Verse. He just fits that mold of a guy that is relentless, that is going to get after the quarterback at all costs. And honestly, Chris Shula is going to be drawing up some very special things for him. And I cannot wait. Josiah Stewart. Now, when you hear the name pop up on Sundays, just know that your boy is going to be screaming to the top of his lungs that we have a defensive line for the next coming years that are going to be feared, because we have guys and role players like this that are able to step in and rotate and kind of catch some of these offensive lines on surprise. He's definitely one of those guys. 8.5 sacks last season, 13 tackles for a loss last season as well, so he could show up in the run game. This was such a great pick, and I know a lot of the Rams community folks were out there were like, we need a linebacker off the ball. We'll get to that in a second. I want to go in order here, but more so moving to that fourth round. And this pick, I'm not mad at it. I mean, look, sometimes Snead could be a homer, but this is a homer pick that I feel as though was needed. Auburn, Jarquez Hunter. Now, Cowboy, you want to say all the nicknames, but I'm going to call him Wild Boy. I'm going to call him a dog because, first of all, he has no gloves on when he's toting that rock. No gloves. So that lets me everything I need to know about what he's going to be put into situations to tote that rock barehanded, that kung fu grip. He ain't letting go of that ball. So he's obviously filling the area that we needed desperately. And I say desperately because this goes back to Kyron Williams. This goes back to the contract negotiations. What does that number actually look like? Is it 10 million or is it 14 million a year? That's where the range that I'm guessing that he wants. I don't know if he gets that. I just don't, because you look at Jarquez and you look at last season. Again, no gloves on the rock, only one fumble. When you look at Kyron, I've come on this podcast. I've been in different areas of other people's podcasts just speaking about it. The fumbles is a huge issue. That's the number one thing you cannot do as a running back, and especially with Kyron dropping the ball in crucial, critical moments. Both Eagles games that he dropped the ball, it's like one of those things where it's like, man, when are we going to get it together? Because honestly, those fumbles were game-changing, momentum-changing. It just ripped my heart out when I saw him fumble the ball in that Eagles game in the playoffs. It was just like, no, you didn't. I know it's snowing, but please, no, tell me that's not real. Tell me that did not just happen, but it did. But this all goes into McVay's plans and honestly the trends, since 2017. I mean, we're going into year 9. They drafted a running back every single year. So this was no surprise to me. I hope it wasn't a surprise for most fans out there. But the fourth round is not like they went in the third round how they got Blake Corum or they spent a second round pick on him. And honestly, when it comes to the Rams, I do not care about draft capital. I don't think they care about draft capital either. So all the draft analysts and all this other stuff and everybody that lives and breathes off of that type of, ideology when it comes to the Rams, it's completely false. We spent a second round pick on Tutu Atwell, and here we are in 2025 making promises to utilize him more. So therefore, draft capital means nothing, but more so it's the fit. He fills 2 areas that we needed badly. 1, ball security. 2, explosiveness. This guy had a 94-yard touchdown run for Auburn, which was the longest run in the program history. So therefore, explosiveness, check. I mean, the dude had 4 yards after contact per attempt last season as well. He's also hard to bring down, a workhorse, a downhill runner. He is one of those guys that is squatting 600 pounds. And I know McVay was kind of like, hey, He's not a fan of that. I know our punter, he's sitting there throwing up 600. We don't need that much weight, and that's not how we win games. But more so, in a fun fact, I mean, the dude's a workhorse. The guy owns a horse, and the horse's name is Danger. I mean, honestly, he just fits the exact mold and culture that we need, and honestly, he's going to be toting that rock. I honestly see him making some type of flashes, not as many flashes that we saw Blake Corum, but he is definitely the running back of the future that can take on the RB1 role if we move on from Kyren Williams, which, again, who knows where they're at with contract talks? Who knows where they're at mentally of what they think of Kyren? But I know as a Rams fan, I appreciate his services. I appreciate everything he has done in that jersey, but it's more so business at the end of the day. I got a taste of a Super Bowl ring as an adult. As a kid, it was cool, when we got that ring. I mean, I get it. The Mike Jones tackle was iconic, but I wasn't really in it. I didn't experience. I was able to experience a Super Bowl as an adult. And once you get that taste, you want more. So I don't care what we do. I just want us back in the big dance and bring home another ring to LA. And I understand there's going to be other obstacles out there. There's other areas that we need to fill, but understand this. We are in our best shape, and the best shape on the both sides of the ball to get there and have the type of quarterback that we have in Matthew Stafford, top 5, by the way. Top 5 if you ain't checked the last pod of why he's top 5. Top 5, by the way. This is the pieces that we have set where we have a Jarquez Hunter just in case a Blake Corum goes down, just in case Kyren goes down, who doesn't exactly have the best, injury history as well. He's been banged up as well, but it's the fumbles and the lack of explosiveness for Kyren. But you bring in somebody like Hunter, he could definitely get that done, man. That's all I got on him. That's really all I got on him. But moving on. This is a pick right here. It's not a sexy pick. It's not a pick that got everybody excited, but this is a pick for the future. We got a defensive tackle in the 5th round, Ty Hamilton. Now, a little bit about Hamilton at Ohio State. This guy was making plays in the run game. 24 stops last season, top 10 among defensive linemen last season. And understand, this is such a great pick to build for the future because he's going to be backing up Poona Ford. And who better to learn from one of the best run stoppers that are going to be clogging up those holes and gaps this season? You're going to get a guy that can really develop into a starter for the future. And I think he is basically set up for success, learning behind Poona Ford and having Chris Shula as his defensive coordinator and just being in the Rams culture, just being in the Rams house. Honestly, getting this pick wasn't the most sexiest pick, but I understand the pick. We need depth. We lost Bobby Brown. We lost Nevels, and understand we haven't had this much depth on the defensive line, this scary, I would say, because Hamilton's a violent big human as well. We haven't had this since we had Eugene Sims back there, Will Hayes back there, Ethan Westbrook back there, all behind a Robert Quinn, a Chris Long, a Aaron Donald, a Michael Brockers. We have not been this deep and fearful on the defensive line in a very, very long time. So I am very happy that we're nailing it. Hammer on the head of getting people that we can get that can stop the run. That was our biggest issue last season. Biggest issue. Now moving on. We finally get the linebacker that everybody was screaming for, an off the ball linebacker, Chris Paul Jr., aka Pooh Paul. That's a little tongue twister right now. We got Puka, we got Puna, and then now we have Pooh Paul. There's just too much going on with the Pooh, like that's a dad joke some way, and I know my son would probably find that hilarious. But anyway, Chris Paul Jr., man, from Ole Miss, this guy, I had him in so many mocks leading up to this week, and honestly, I'm just happy that we came away with him. He kind of fell to us, but again, a lot of people were talking about size at the linebacker position. I understand his size may limit us on the goal line, but again, we have other players to rotate there. We have other bigger linebackers there that we can get there to get the job done, and hopefully our guys on the defensive front can be a clog there for it. But we got a guy that could fly from side to side, west to east to west, that is going to be on the ball wherever the ball is at. This guy does not miss tackles. And I understand everybody was groaning and basically throwing a fit when Troy Reader came back and understanding what he brings to the table, and that's a bunch of missed tackles. with Chris Paul Jr., a.k.a. Pooh Paul, he does not miss tackles. Only 4.5% of his tackles were missed last season. He had 88 tackles, and this guy is a guy that is ready for the smoke and contact and going to meet you in that hole. He's one of the guys that is a sneaky pass rusher as well if we're going to go ahead and put him in there in a blitz package. But you're bringing in a guy that does not miss tackles with Omar Speights last year, who had 0 missed tackles, who also was flying around looking for that smoke. This combination, I cannot wait to see. I cannot wait to see. You got Omar Speights on one side and Chris Paul on the other. This is going to be a dynamic linebacker duo that is going to make some noise very, very early. This year, next year, the years beyond, I can honestly see Chris Paul making plays immediately if he's put in the right position. So a lot of people were screaming, hooting, hollering, yeah, we need a linebacker. We got it, okay? Nathan Landman from Atlanta, he's a guy that creates turnovers, so I could see him just kind of being placed there, but he's always around the ball as well. So we have playmakers at that second level, so we really do not have to worry about missing tackles or clogging up those gaps and addressing, because what Chris Paul does very well, when I was watching a film yesterday with Daniel Jeremiah talking about him, this guy knows where some of these running backs are going. Like, he can be very anticipating of where the ball is going and just fill that hole and hit that hole and be very, very present in where he needs to be to stop the run. So I am happy that we got all the bases covers. I mean, like, it was like a kid for Christmas getting everything on his Christmas list. And like, I honestly believe that this was probably one of our stronger drafts, even with previous years, even with having Jared Verse being rookie defensive player of the year last year and getting his co-mate and Braden Fisk. I feel like this draft, we hit it out of the park. Honestly, I really do think that even with the first round pick next year, even without that, this was just flawless in how we were able to navigate and get every player that fills our needs and holes. I mean, again, just could not ask enough for depth and pieces that are going to be able to produce for us in the future. Now, last but not least, now I'm not even going to sit here and pretend that I understand and know what this wide receiver is and what he brings to the table. I had to ask some friends around, like, yo, what kind of guy are we getting out of Kanata Mumpfield? I hope I said that right. Kanata. I think it's Kanata Mumpfield, but more so what he brings to the table, the clutch factor. I saw him make a lot of clutch catches yesterday when I was watching his film from last season. A lot of great releases off the line. A guy that's going to be a depth piece for us. If you can get him on the field at some point, if we, God forbid, have anybody go down with injury, but he's a guy that's going to be able to separate very well, and he can have the yards out there to catch and make an impact as well. So I see him just kind of being a rotational guy, with a great release, being able to separate. That was one of the few things that came out of Sean McVay's mouth, saying that he's a great separator. So you could see some things probably dialed up for him. But overall, I give us, obviously, being this is a Ram podcast and I'm a Rams fan, I'm going to say an A. But I really do feel like this is an A. You look at other people's drafts, it kind of looks scattered. You look at the Seahawks draft, they did get some good depth on Damian Martinez, but looking at their entire draft, and they got Elijah Arroyo as well. All right, 2 players from the Seahawks that I like, okay? I don't hate Seahawks fans or that fan base or even the team as much as I hate the 49ers. They get an F in my grade book, honestly. The 49ers suck. You went 5 for 5 rounds straight and drafting defensive players. I understand you needed holes to fill, but you guys are boring. I don't care. I really hope that your season is in the tank. You guys are at the bottom of the West. At the end of the day, like I said, the 49ers, I'm not really worried about. Seahawks, I'm not worried about. The Cardinals, did they even draft anybody? I don't know. I really didn't even look at their draft to even care because, honestly, they're never a threat. They're like those, like, guys that, they talk a lot. They talk a lot within the division, even their fans. Like, you guys aren't really threatening. There's nothing over there that makes me like, oh, my God, I'm losing sleep at night. We got the Cardinals this week. It's kind of like, oh, we got the Cardinals this week. Okay, we'll smack them up and see what's going on. Whatever the case may be, they will never, ever, ever have fear in my heart when we go up against them. So I'm feeling good, real good in this division, honestly. Like, I feel very confident that this is going to be hands down, like, kind of like a cakewalk for us, at least in the division. We're going to be holding up another banner of champions of the West again. So I'm just saying, I'm just fully confident in my guys, fully confident in McVay, fully confident in Les Snead and his decision-making and having our scouts in the building, going out there, finding all 6 of these guys that fill needs that we need for now and in the future. So shout out to the Rams, man. I cannot wait to see what they do on Sundays. This season cannot come close enough, man. I am just really fired up about really digging into more deeper dives into all the players that we got and where we could fit them and how this is going to fix. But honestly, there is one. Well, before I get out of here, there's one thing that I did notice. We did not draft any defensive backs. So obviously, the Jalen Ramsey tea leaves are kind of feeling like they're true. Like maybe he's coming back, but I'm more so worried about the money. You know what I mean? What is this going to do for the cap? Do we have the cap for him? Because I understand everybody's saying it's like a $16 million cap, but I think it'll be more so of like a post June 1st situation where that cap number is going to get down. There's a lot of guaranteed money this year that he's going to get. I think it's most of it up front. I think he got 3 years on the void contract where we can kind of push back his money and figure that out. Because honestly, that's a lot of money that's going to be coming from Jalen Ramsey. So I know that the Dolphins are probably going to wait until after June 1st because I know they saved like $9 million in cap. I think it's only like $6 million in dead cap for them. So not a bad deal from that. But what is it going to require? What does that trade package look like? Because we gave up a third in Hunter Long. That's what we got. You know, the Hunter Long in the third. I feel like that's cool. That's great. But we didn't really get the best out of Hunter Long. We didn't really get like a huge impact from him. But more so looking at it like, all right, what do we got to give up to get Jalen Ramsey now? And what does this look like from a financial standpoint? But I do feel confident in Les Snead of getting the deal done and making it fair and making it make sense. But more so, I'm actually okay with our defensive backs, man. We played hard last season. We got Witherspoon back. So I'm happy about that. Darius Williams, he struggled a little bit, but he showed up in times when we needed him as well. So it's not like we're completely bad at the position. We have guys that are going to be rotating in and out of there, and we're getting guys like DK back. Honestly, I don't know why that slipped my mind, man. But DK, we're getting back as well. He suffered some injuries. And like I said, man, I feel really confident about this secondary where I feel like I don't need, somebody to go in the draft right now to go grab them for us this season. But we'll see. We'll see how the season pans out on that secondary, man. Honestly, I hope we don't get cooked like we did those first couple months. Well, those first couple weeks. But obviously some changes were made and some things needed to change ASAP because we couldn't keep getting beat deep. But more so, man, I'm happy with the draft. I'm happy to be a Rams fan this season. But I guess I'll see you guys next week, going over more of what is the upcoming season. So make sure you guys are liking, subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment below. I'm looking at all comments across all platforms. Make sure you're following me at Real Deal Fantasy, even on Blue Sky, LaQuan Jones. Blue Sky. Check me out over there where I'm talking everything from Rams to fantasy football to TV, everything. I'm really just chilling over there. But I definitely want you guys to follow me on all social media platforms, and I'll see you guys next week for another great episode from the Sick Podcast Rams Recap.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.